things here in Miami, and we moved the event to weekends at 10 a.m. And that kind of opened up a big community, pretty much, because people now had the accessibility. And then I think the second biggest thing is that Daybreaker is like very much a larger than life event, and it's a big show, it's a big production, and there's a big cast. And because we do the event every month, it allows us to be a very effective platform for Miami's most talented like performers, singers, yogis, fitness instructors, all of them. We get the best ones and give them a platform that is all about, just letting them shine and do their thing. And when you give these talented people a platform to do what they're all about, it's just extraordinary. Yeah. And it's not forced. A big thing like in the fitness community is, people will go to a gym and they'll stay at that gym, or they'll do yoga at that studio and they'll only do yoga in that studio, and they're because they're kind of forced into these memberships. Right. But when every month we're featuring a different studio and we are giving that studio and that yogi an opportunity to show why they're special, there's a camaraderie that just kind of formed.
And not only that, but it helps like the ecosystem of that business.
Yeah. Right? So we actually make it a big deal to help these businesses and these people who make their livelihood from being independent, to really shine and thrive, right? Like we believe in win-win, so.
And then with the ticketed events, you're also able to pay these people.
Yes, exactly, and that's a big thing. Some people were surprised that we actually pay our yogis. A lot of times, like, oh, come, because we could easily say, like, oh, we're not going to pay you, you know. But if you're coming and providing a service, then we like to be fair. So the tickets, if you get them early, can be as low as $15, and then they kind of go up the closer you get to the event. Okay. And as like availability or spots for yoga or whatever certain fitness classes. Get smaller, then we raise the price a little bit. And that's also first of all, the tickets like $15, sometimes even $20 cheaper than New York. That's another thing that we said, hey, we got to keep the prices low because Miami is a different market and it needs to be accessible.
What's the most like someone would pay for a ticket to attend?
So right now, the most expensive ticket that we've ever had is actually for this month. We have we're bringing in Red Bike, and we're gonna have like over 50 spin bikes at Club Space. So getting Red Bike to close their studio.
Just tell me the number.
Yeah, so that's gonna be $40 for a spin class. But if you got it early, you could have gotten it much cheaper. Right. So Miami, I don't know if you guys ever get into ticketed stuff like it. We don't have the ticket culture that other markets have. Right. So we're kind of trying to create that, like, hey, get your ticket, reserve your spot, because these things do sell out. We sell out every single yoga event, like every single one.
Okay.
Like cool. group. I mean, and with the run group, like group wellness events and like group fitness in general
deems like
is big. Like people would rather be part of. And that's kind of like how CrossFit.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask Gris, like how. Okay, so Women Run Wynwood is a free 5K every month on the first Sunday of every month. Like, you've already gone on making it your first year. You maintained it free. You have sponsorships for it. And you started it with Triple Threat, but you're the main founder behind it. So what was your intention and your idea when you started it? Like, how did you want these women to connect at your event? And what was missing that you wanted to create that?
So going off of what you were just saying about just really all win and win, and what I aim towards with Women Run Wynwood is that we're basically a community. We're a community over competition. So that's what I wanted to create. I wanted to create a group of women that would come together and really just lift each other up. So that's what, I don't know, that's why I created Women Run Wynwood. And what makes us different from any other run club or any other, I guess, a woman empowerment club is that, again, we're a free event. We don't do it for anything else other than to give to the community. So that's why I think we've succeeded so much, because we do it wholeheartedly, and that goes a long way.
But that's not to say that the event isn't worth money, right? And so like, how have you been able to maintain it to be free for a whole year and plus? Because now we're already going on the second month of the second month.
So, funny story. What you were just saying outside about starting your own business.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I have the same struggles. I mean, we are a nonprofit. We don't have this huge sponsorships, to tell you the truth. We don't have the money.
Yeah.
So what comes in, we give back. And I'm just really, really grateful for the community we have and the faith I have. I don't even know if it's the power of attraction or what it is, but if I need some type of money, some type of vendor or sponsor comes along. And I don't even know how it's happening and how I've been doing this for the past year, but I'm just really, really, really grateful for the Wynwood community for giving so much to us. And I'm just really excited to see what's going to happen in the next year.
And why did you choose Wynwood as the area for women to run? Especially how... And I like the idea of having like a piece of real Miami or real community in Miami in Wynwood, because a lot of our complaints as locals is like Wynwood is not for us anymore. I mean, at least I sometimes don't feel like that. I mean, it's like even this past weekend I was in Wynwood and I'm like, wait, why is it so packed on a Saturday in Wynwood? And then my wife was like, because it's Wynwood and it's always packed now. But back in the day when we would go to Wynwood, we'd be like, oh, is it Art Walk? You know?
I remember.
So like, tell me about like why Wynwood? Is it just because it was like by your gym?
So basically I started Women Run Wynwood at Wynwood because I had the access at the gym. I used to be a coach at Triple Threat Fitness, which is located at CrossFit Wynwood. So it was just easier for me to do it from there. But then from the first run for the second run, just everything came along so nicely. Like, yes, it was always a run club and we wanted guest speakers and we had the post yoga and we had this and that. But everything just came along so perfectly. And then when you come, it's just, the whole year came out so perfectly that you go into our Instagram and you say, oh my God, these women really do run Wynwood. Yeah. And then you see all the cool pictures and everything. And I don't even know, but it's perfect. And like you were just saying that the community in Wynwood is being lost with this whole, like, I don't even know how to say it. O sea, with these huge buildings and like all the tourism and everything. And I think it's really important just to keep your roots somewhere, you know. Yeah. I don't know. And particularly with Women Run Wynwood, that we were just saying how like the brand has exploded. I was saying that the brand has exploded because you're 1 year in, but you have major sponsors for your events. You have like free water bottles, you have like protein bars, you have freaking Donna Shalala come and show face, you have like these women who are into fitness or entrepreneurs. Like, ¿cómo pasó eso? ¿Cómo fue que pasó eso? Tell me. No, and I was telling
like, what is the benefit for the sponsor to come that their brand is having visibility among all of these consumers? Like,
I don't even know what to tell you. I was telling you this in the kitchen. Like, I don't feel that we've hit that what you're saying, but now that you say it, that we do have the support from X and Y, and I just think that, and I've actually, like, now that you say it, I've actually had like these social media influencers actually reach out and whatever, and it's like, I think that we have such good feedback from them because they know what we're doing. And not a lot of people are doing it. Like, woman empowerment, yes, it's getting there, como que está llegando a donde tiene que estar, pero it's basically it's something that when women see other women support each other, it's a hit. Yeah. So yeah. I don't know, that's all I have.
And so I want to take it to David real quick, because David also has his own company and communications business. And so maybe we could even make this a little educational, like from a branding standpoint. Well, tell us about your branding and the communications and beyond the agency.
Yeah, so I mean, like I told you, when I started going to Creative Mornings, I was right when I launched my company, Verjano Communications. Really a solo venture, and I was offering digital marketing services. Throughout the course of time, actually through Creative Mornings, I met someone, which is now my girlfriend, which she introduced me to my first intern, who was the person who introduced me to my now business partner.
You see how
so
it is?
So it's like the craziest, group of life. But yeah, to bring it back full circle, my business partner had a background in advertising. I studied advertising down here. I had started my own thing, and he's like, all right, let's start working together on a project then. Our first project that came across the board was Lincoln's Beard Brewing Company. So we started doing their branding, we started doing their social media, and luckily we've won a couple awards for them and it's gotten us some press coverage. So that's pretty much what we've done in the past 5 years, me and him collectively. But really to kind of cover the bases, we focus on brand strategy and creative campaigns. Like, we feel like there's a huge opportunity here in Miami there's a lot of social media agencies, there's a lot of digital marketers, but in terms of branding on a higher level and trying to bring in some sort of unique value and unique identity, and some sort of campaign that reaches out to people and so you can really resonate with them, we feel like there's a lot to be desired here in Miami. So we want to be one of the people that start that trend and have people, other agencies and other creatives kind of follow suit and make Miami a more creative city than what it already is.
And you see, I think people you are super important to movements like Daybreaker Miami or to Women Run Wynwood, even to Creative Mornings, because that strategy and that marketing that you put behind is what's really going to propel and keep these projects moving forward. You know what I mean? So it's super essential for you guys all to be connecting now, but also even from that perspective of the project is great, but marketing and how you're going to push it after is really what makes it grow. You know what I mean? And being able to have that is just as important as being able to put the content together.
Yeah.
So Fabio, I want to take it to you. For Daybreaker Miami, professionally or personally, how have you benefited from belonging to a network like Daybreaker Miami? And maybe in your personal life or friendship, or even meeting someone the way meeting a partner or someone like David did. And not only that, but how are you putting this platform that you have to your favor and using it to benefit other people in the community? Are you introducing people? Do you meet people there? How?
Yeah, I mean, people is definitely the key word.
Okay.
It's all about the people. And I think personally, the biggest benefit that I've had is just to meet so many extraordinary people and work with a lot of amazing people. I mean, we have a big team. We have over 40 volunteers. Wow. We call them mischief makers. But, and, it's just amazing how these connections, like you said, flourish. Yeah. My co-producer was a fan of, my Dude Skywalker project, and I knew her from there. She's like, hey, I want to do a festival. Her name is Joanne. Shout out Joanne if you're watching. And, next thing I'm like, hey, I have this opportunity. I can't do this Daybreaker thing alone. It's not about me. It's about the community you want to help. And then, it just snowballed into us having a huge group of people who were all about it. And then also, whenever we have a Daybreaker, I come out feeling very energized. When I see that the work that we are putting in is, moving people to tears and having profound changes for people, that's what it's all about, and, call it selfish or whatever about feeling good, about making other people feel good, but it's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
And I've also been able to go to other cities where there's Daybreakers and perform at those huge events. New York is massive.
Yeah.
And so from an artist standpoint, it's been amazing as well. So, it's just positive all around,
Did you want to add to that, David?
No, I mean, it pretty much hammers the point down that it's the connections that you make along the way, you really don't know when they're going to resurface and how they all start kind of branching out, and that one person you spoke to at that one event 3 years later hits you up for, a job opportunity or some cool project to work on, and that's how it's been. There's a lot of serendipity in it that people don't really talk about it, but that's kind of been my experience as well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
I think that what a lot of people miss, and that I think maybe the three of us have, and maybe even you have experienced, is that it's all about being present. And sometimes you just got to do something to make that first domino fall.
Yeah. And
then things start getting thrown your way, but you feel those opportunities and you just continue being present. And if don't get scared of the hill, right? Just look at the next step, and things just kind of happen and manifest.
Well, that's exactly how Meet Them Mondays came about, because when I was reporting in the city and running from story to story, I was meeting different people, and I was meeting them on a one-off situation. But then, like, let's say I met you today, Fabio, and then I met David another day, and then I met Gris another day, and I knew I was the only person that could connect you all three, and so I knew you two have synergy, and I would send off emails like, hey, you two don't know each other, but I really think you should, like, connect with each other. You guys are doing similar things, and you can be a support system. And I was sending these emails more often than not, like, on my own, and people would connect, and then they would, you know, maybe collaborate, or I would, you know, hear about it later, like, yeah, we were able to work together, thank you so much. But I knew there had to be a bigger way or another platform of introducing people to each other and connecting them, like, for real, on a very, like, you know, primitive basis, like, face to face. Like, we're not texting, we're not emailing, like, we're here. And that's really how Meet Them when they started. You're meeting people, you know, with purpose and with intention. It just so happens to be on a Monday, but here we are. Like, that's the purpose. And so, Gris, putting an event together like Women Run Wynwood, what have you come to learn about the Miami community, or like the women in Miami, or you also work with different men and the coaches and stuff like that? Like, what is particular about Miami and the women that are here that you've learned through this event? And who are some of these women that attend? What do they do? What do they look like? Like, why are they there?
So, I'm just gonna say overall women.
Okay.
So, basically, I mean, when you have a good concept in your hands, it's gonna attract people. So, I just think that just putting it out there, that's what it attracts these women. I mean, our events are full of all ages, from a young woman to older, a woman come in with their kids. We see everything. And I'm so sorry, I forgot the question. Repeat it.
No, why did you choose to only do it for women, by the way? Like, why was it important just to give women a space?
So there's a whole story behind that, actually. I've always struggled with, I used to struggle with self-love and really just my whole, how I carried myself and what people thought and everything. And it came to a point that I said, like, wow, I'm struggling with this, like, and like, what am I gonna do with this? And I have all these tools that I can do, and it sounds kind of cliche, but I was actually running one day, and I remember I was at Museum Park, and I was like, oh my God, I'm feeling this way, and if I feel this way, I swear to God, all the women that have to feel this way. And I was like, okay, I need to do something about this. And that's where I spoke with a Triple Threat owner. And yeah, anyway.
Why was it important to you to just, like, keep the women there? Like, why?
So basically what I wanted to do was tell them, like, hey, if you're feeling this way, and if society paints you a certain way, and if society is telling you that if you're not a certain size, a certain color, or a certain way, that doesn't mean anything. Like, girls, you're all beautiful. You're all made the right.
Está rica.
Te lo juro. Es que I swear to God, and I say it in each and every run, like, ladies, you guys are freaking beautiful. Like, you have everything that is needed to make whatever happens. Como que entiende?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, that's why I made it only for women.
I remember you posted something on social media, like, one of the girls was like, oh, pero puedo traer a mi marido, or can I bring my boyfriend? And you were like, nena, déjala en la casa, no se va a morir por una
Oh my
hora.
God, yes, I remember. No, yeah, the whole camp, we actually did Women Run Wynwood Takes Puerto Rico. We went to Puerto Rico.
Yeah,
and
I want to talk about that.
It was actually a really big success. And one of our messages in the campaign was like, ladies, just because you leave your husband, your boyfriend, or your boy toy at home for a morning, they're not gonna die. That's true.
Yeah, and tell me about how you took it to Puerto Rico, because obviously the audience or the consumer there, the women that show up out there are completely different, or maybe not from the ones in Miami. I mean, some are Latinas and maybe some of us are not, but whatever. Like, how is it different? And doing it in your own country, like your own hood.
So it was really crazy, because I had always said, like, yeah, I'm gonna bring it to Puerto Rico. Like, it's gonna happen. Yes. We got it approved, and 3 weeks before we got the permits. 3 weeks before. So I had 3 weeks to put this whole event together. And
permits from, like, the venue you were gonna host it at, the gym, or?
From the governor.
Oh wow.
We needed permits from the government. So we had it 3 weeks before the actual event, and I was like, this is crazy. Either we're gonna do it or we're not gonna do it, but we need to decide right now. I'm like, whatever, I'm gonna go for it.
Yeah.
And it was so crazy because I remember I put the flyer up the Monday 3 weeks before, and it was so crazy how it just, like, I swear to God, that thing went viral.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was posting it, everyone was talking about it, the views in the page went up. Like, I was like, what is happening? I have no idea what's happening, but this is good.
Yeah.
And then, since it was my hometown, I had a bunch of friends, family, a bunch of, ¿cómo se dice apoyo en inglés?
Support.
A bunch of support that I literally...
Ese es Spanglish, como sea.
I had so much support, I really wasn't expecting it. And oh my God, we really received over 200 ladies within 3 weeks. It was amazing.
But you know what it is for your own people? Like, okay, yes, we're Latinas, whatever, but for your own people, like, Boricuas, to go and show up for you, like, that must be amazing. I feel like the same camaraderie, like, when people are from Miami, wherever we are, like, we have that together. So imagínate doing it in Puerto Rico and feeling like that spirit, especially an event that was so positive after, like, a lot of the negative things that have happened in Puerto Rico.
Yeah, that was what my proposal to them was, like, hey guys, Puerto Rico was hit with the huge hurricane with Maria, and we need support more than anything right now.
Yeah.
And that's what I told them, like, we need support, and us as women, we need support, and I think this event would benefit all the women. They need to get lifted up and whatever,
and they need to get that energy out there, that feminine divine energy.
Yeah.
And Fabio, let's talk about, like, how you've attended Daybreaker in other cities or gone to, you know, events like that. But what is it about Miami that makes it a completely different experience? Like, I know our people in Miami, like, I'm always going to rep 305 till I die, but there's obviously something special about what we have here. How does it compare to the movement in other places?
Well, I mean, we highlight one of the best things about Miami besides the people, and it's the weather. So we've kind of been like the pool party Daybreaker. And that kind of also, like, helps with, you know, the branding of the experience and the event. So, you know, when you see these photos and videos of people having an amazing time outside, palm trees, pool parties, it just makes it look even more special. And then the culture of Miami and everyone, you know, like, we've tapped into, you know, what's going on in Miami. So, like, we have, you know, the acro yogis from South Point, they come, you know. We have people from Wynwood. I'm sure a big part of your community comes to our events too. And it's what I've noticed is that Miami is maybe a little bit more family oriented.
Oh, really?
You know, like, so part of, like, our experience is when you're at the door, we have a hugging committee, and that's very much Burning Man inspired, because the founder of Daybreaker kind of used some tenets from Burning Man to create the experience.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, in Miami, we don't just hug, we'll give you a kiss too, you know, so those things. And, you know, it's just...
Walk me through, like, a Daybreaker event. Like, for someone like me who's never been there, okay, we start off with a hug, like, is it always at 6 in the morning?
Okay, so there's always a theme,
okay,
right? So the first thing is show up in the theme, right? So the next one is One Love.
Okay.
So theme is red. Come dressed in red and repping love, okay? So you show up to Daybreaker, there's a hugging committee, and depending on whichever fitness class you chose, you would go to that dedicated room. You do your fitness class for an hour, and then the party consolidates into, like, one big mass. So it feels like a big party.
Okay.
And then you dance for 2 hours, and then at the end, after that, we'll have a closing ceremony. Typically, we'll have a meditation, which my good friend Kunal Chauhan, who was actually a radio host for WVUM, and now he's in med school.
Okay.
And he's all about meditation and mindfulness and medicine and music. So he's kind of in the crossroads of all those things. And when I first started doing the Daybreaker, we were hanging out. I'm like, hey, I think it'd be perfect for this closing ceremony. And it just, you know, now he's like our like mindfulness ceremony. He leads it. It's always beautiful. That's usually when people cry.
But why are people crying at these events? Like, how could you describe like what it's like?
Because you know it's the human condition is suffering, right? You wake up, if you don't get food, water, love, or enough shelter, it's a struggle, right? And like Daybreaker is a place for release, like it with all the stuff going on in the world, like we're apolitical, it's not like leave all that garbage at the door and just come and have fun.
Yeah.
And people are like, need that right now. Like there's so much tension that when you can go somewhere and release, it's like the same reason why, like, when people go to church and gospel and they're brought to tears too. It's like the same, it's tapping into that same, spiritual connection. And when you're in a room with 300, 400, 500 other people who are all on that same wavelength, and, you just kind of feel like this sense of family.
Yeah.
The founder of Daybreaker wrote a book called Belong that just came out.
Okay.
And
what's the founder's name?
her name is Radha Argarwal. Yeah, you can look her up. And
what's her name?
Radha, Radha.
Okay.
And she wrote this book Belong, and it's all about that. It's all about people are looking for belonging, and we are creating, all of us are creating these moments where people can belong.
Yeah.
And that's why it said it's so important to be accessible, because the moment you put up a wall for people to not come in, whatever the barrier is for them to come into the experience, it kind of,
it takes away from like the
yeah, I mean, even and I'm even sometimes conscious of people being afraid of being part of something so big,
right?
Because
it can be intimidating.
The introvert might be like, oh, I don't want to be part of that, but the introvert's probably the one who needs it the most.
Exactly.
So it's kind of...
what I was thinking too, like, as we sit at this table and we're having this conversation, we're millennials right now. And, like, the way that we're focused on, like, health and wellness, or even for creative mornings, like, that is some sort of form of wellness, like, even if it's a creative wellness. And, like, I know when I've gone to creative mornings, I'm there to seek, like, information. I'm there to seek, like, to be inspired, by what other people are doing. I think there's something to say for us as young people, caring about, like, our mental health. That's something that, like, even Gaga yesterday on the Grammys, her speech had to do with mental health. And she was like, as artists, we need to take care of each other. That can go from an artist as big as Gaga to artists like us. We're all artistic in our own way. We express it in different formats. But even now with, like, the way that people are so okay with how you were just saying, Gri, like, talking about confidence, talking about body image, talking about mental health, talking about being creative, talking about being independent and the struggles that we have. I feel like our generation is a lot more vocal about these things, and there's a lot to be said that we're at the age that we are and we're so young, but we're so vocal about, like, bringing these issues forward. And not only that, but joining different movements that are that we're gonna actually do something about it. Like, you wanted to do something about what you were feeling, Gri, or even being part of a Daybreaker like Fabio, and organizing this event where people go there to release. And even something like Creative Mornings, Yeah. So, like, I'm interested in your thoughts of, like, obviously these events are open to the public and you're welcome. It can be intimidating, like, let's say the fitness level of it, because I've tried to go with a friend who I'm like, come run this 5K with me. She didn't have to run it, she could have walked it, but she didn't go, and I went alone because she's like, no, me desmayo if I go. And it's like, why do people hold back in these ways, I've attended these events alone. So there's a lot to say for, like, us wanting to have community and wanting to do it in a way where it's healthy and where we're speaking about, like, these issues. Maybe low-key, a lot of the women that go there are super fit but have insecurities. And you're there, and you don't have to be fit. You don't have to be artistic. Like you said, there's people in the medical field, or whatever artistic is what you define it. You don't have to be a part of a religion. You're literally there to connect with people. So, like, who wants to share their thoughts on, like, on how you see these interactions forming, how you see these relationships expanding? What are some positive stories that you've heard from people who attend, or feedback that you get?
I could speak to my personal experience of attending creative mornings. I did the same thing of going by myself. I would go to these events and just go to meet people and learn, and you know, Miami, it being a very commuter-focused city, since we don't have a centralized public transportation system, there's a lot of silos. So Miami is like kind of broken up, and you have to kind of go to different places to get different experiences. So Creative Mornings does bounce around to try and cater to that. So, you know, it could be an event here in Wynwood, it could be down south, it could be a little bit more north, but they do that to kind of fit to what is Miami's structure right now. And I just noticed that what's funny is, even though we're all disconnected, everyone says like Miami's like big city but small town, because you start running into the same people. And it's like, it's funny how no matter how disconnected or we could have that kind of separation, you'll still start running into those same people. So I think it's a matter of like people who are seeking for the laws of attraction. I think that there's there is that synergy that starts happening after you start entering a certain environment, and then it's kind of starts that ripple effect of going to this other event that's related, or meeting this other person, and it all starts kind of like looping into each other.
Can you maybe tell me about like one of your most inspirational talks that you attended with Creative Mornings that you were like, wow, like I want more people to be a part of this or come to this?
I mean, there's been quite a bit, but I guess the second one that ever happened was actually, and a guy that I didn't even know was living in our backyard, was this guy called Dr. William Murphy Jr. He was like 93 years old at the time, still able-bodied, drove himself. Like, this guy was a world-class inventor. He invented the overhead projector. He invented the snowblower. He invented a better version of the pacemaker. And it was like, and this guy, he talks about his background. He was just curious about everything. He would learn how like locomotives would work, and he even trained to become a conductor at one point, but then ended up coming back and being an inventor and scientist and medical. He works for this company called Cordis. It's huge, and like he's been able to build this all, and he's here living in our backyard, and just seeing people like that you would have never otherwise. I mean, he could have been in his car next to you would never know.
Exactly.
And stuff like that. But then we've also done other events where it's really, we change up the format. We've had one where it was just no real talk. It was just 4 different artists in a room at the bakehouse, and they were all doing their craft, and people would go around and like kind of watch them do it, and then at the end it would be Q&A, and they would talk about their art and why they did it, and like stuff like that. Having those like different ranging experiences are really eye-opening, and showing that you don't have to have this cookie cutter format to inspire people and bring people together.
And that's like the thing that blows my mind about attending events like this, or even attending wellness events like this, because they're so like they're so rich, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, how could I have lived in Miami this whole time and not known this? And not only that, but I mean, in this case, it's a free event. It's a free breakfast lecture series. Literally, all you have to do is sign up and go. Like, why would you not want to? You know what I mean? And then you go to these other events where you have to pay, and they're networking or they're whatever, and you don't even get like that same feeling of like, me fui con algo, you know, for my soul. You know what I mean? Like, yo sentí algo diferente estando aquí. You know, maybe how has your and this is all for all 3 of you, but attending very intentional group gatherings like this, maybe how has it changed your perspective on being social and attending other events in Miami that maybe are not like yours? Like, do you now, are you more choosy now with like what events you go to, or are you starting to see that more events are like yours? Or not like yours, but like Creative Mornings?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of the events that I went to early on have kind of faded out, or they're no longer doing events as often, so I've kind of had to like look for new events. But I guess I am a little bit more choosy, is like in the sense of like I would be able to identify an event that I could tell is already going to be more networky and businessy, and I feel like, all right, that's good for them, but maybe it's not something that I want to experience. So in that sense, yeah, but I'm still very open to like very different events that even have nothing to do with what I'm doing, just to learn about a topic or know about what people are doing in Miami in that space, because it's just good to know.
How about you, Fabio? Are you more choosy about like different events, or are you finding that there's more wellness events that are catering like?
Well, I think in general the wellness scene is booming, right? So, but I definitely have gotten invited to a lot more things because I've met a lot more people who are involved, and yeah, any chance I get to support them, I do. You know, we've also been very fortunate to be working with like a lot of like properties and venues that are like institutions, right? So, for example, Club Space next month.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like an opportunity to almost reinvent that experience. You know, in fact, This will be our 4th Daybreaker at Space.
Nice.
And I can't tell you how many people have said, like, oh my God, at Space? Like, you guys are doing it at Space? And then they come and they experience it and they're like, wow, that was the best morning I've ever had at Space ever. And no one's a zombie.
Right.
Everyone's going 100,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And it's just, it's, you know, it's, for lack of a better word, kind of magical.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. And what about you, Gri? Like, are you more choosy with like where you get your fitness or your events or other events that you attend around the city because you are the founder of such an intentional event?
So, I think I'm just gonna go off of what you were just saying.
Get closer.
So basically, I go to everything I'm invited to just to support.
Mhm.
I mean, if someone goes out of their way to invite me, it's because of something. So it doesn't matter to what height the event is at or whatever. I'm gonna be there just for the support. But yes, since I started this run club, I would only say that I'm super attentive to all the 5Ks that I now go to.
Yeah.
But other than that, yeah, I'm there. Wherever I'm invited, I'm there.
The thing with wellness to me though sometimes is like, sometimes wellness can be bougie. Like there's some things about wellness, like, okay, everybody needs wellness. Everybody needs to exercise or to take care of themselves in one way, shape, or another, whatever that means to that person. But I feel like our communities of color, our Black communities, our Latino communities, where estamos más predispuestos to having like health issues and high blood pressure and diabetes and all of these things, our communities. So our communities need it a lot as well. And I feel like sometimes wellness events can kind of like push away people, and it's like they're almost marketed in a way where it's like, if, and I'm saying this from a woman's perspective, I don't know how the guys would feel about this, but like, damn, I need to go get that new Gymshark like matching bra and yoga because I gotta show out at this event to be able to go. I gotta do the Lululemon thing because it can feel like that, you know what I mean? But there's something different about events that are not pretentious and that are come as you are. Like, I've seen people dress up in like unicorns at like Daybreaker, you know, or when I went to Women Run Wynwood, like, I'm not seeing all these models and all these women who are like, I mean, some of them are stunning, and I'm like, yes, it's inspiring. I want, you know, to be fit like that. But at the same time, it's like, I'm just seeing real people, real bodies, real women, old, young, like women that are pregnant, women with babies, or whatever it is. And there's something so like inviting about being around people that seem real. Does that make sense?
And I think that's where we all come together, right? Because we're all doing something that caters to that, what you were just saying, come as you are. We accept you as you are, come to us, and we can all rise together. And I think that's why todos hemos sido tan exitosos cuando vienes a ver, porque te aceptamos como eres.
Yeah.
And right now in the world we're living in, it's like, if you're not a certain way, you're not invited, and I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Why are people dressing up as unicorns at Daybreaker?
Well, I mean, we're all about like accessing your inner child, right? And
Okay.
just it's a moment where you can play,
Yeah.
like really let your inner kid out and pretend you're at a playground. And we actually try to create it a playground. You know, it's kind of circling back to something that you asked about earlier. I think a lot of people, you know, there's a lot of things that are plaguing our generation, right? Anxiety is one of them. You know, also everything that we eat is completely wrong. You know, like we need to flip the food pyramid upside down, you know, in order for our people to get healthy. You know, and unless you're like trying to like blaze a trail to counteract like these major mechanisms that are screwing not just people of color, literally everyone is getting screwed over by these things.
Right.
You know, our generation, you know, I don't know how old you guys are, but when I got
Our
out,
generation, boo.
yeah, like when I got out of college, you know, what was there waiting for me? It was a recession, literally. So
Or a bunch of debt.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Every single person is also, by the way, every single person is in debt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone, you know, so every single, like, literally, you can pretty much guarantee that you meet someone on the street and they have less than $1,000 to their name. They're in debt. They are very likely to be unhealthy. they are depressed or anxious, or, you know, I just named 5 things. There's more, but odds are they're one of those.
Yeah.
You know, and unless you try to like counteract these things that are like really trying to screw us over,
Yeah.
you know, you're gonna succumb to, you know, falling in that pit. And the deeper in the pit you go, the harder it is to get out.
Of course.
You know, so anxiety is like a very first step, right? So it could even be something as simple as like the flyer for your event. And if you have a flyer that someone can't connect with, or that gives them anxiety because they can't relate, you know, it's complicated. It's really complicated, right? So we're kind of trying to reinvent what it means to be cool and fun, and just, you know, be healthy, right?
Well, I think too, and because we're coming up on our time, one thing, for example, with Creative Mornings, the talk that you guys are going to have, the next Creative Mornings event is February 15th at 8:30 in the morning, and it's with a trans artist named Gami, right?
Yeah.
And so we were just talking about like how these events that you guys are all a part of are really intentional about like who you're trying to bring out, and maybe if that message isn't given, at least you're trying to give that message. So for Creative Mornings, we're having this trans artist that's gonna be there, speaking on symmetry. And so tell me more about that. And I love, again, the idea that it's a breakfast, like a lecture series, and you have a doctor, you have an inventor, and you have a trans artist, and you have like a fitness girl. Like it literally is like bringing the best of Miami in very different areas.
So yeah, this was, since it was a collaboration with 3 Points, and Gami is part of 3 Points, that was who we agreed on that would be a good, you know, a person to speak. We haven't had a speaker like that to speak from that perspective, and we felt like it was the right moment, and, you know, with the timing around 3 Points as well. So we just range across the board. We don't really, we're so agnostic when it comes to those things. We just like give anyone a platform that has some sort of background or experience that is creative, and the way that they approach their things. So we felt that this month it was time to do that. And last year, I believe, when I had gone to the Creative Morning Summit, which, you know, all the chapters across the world beat up there, we were actually one of the chapters that actually shouted Miami out, because we had an entire year of just all female speakers. So we had just done that as part of, you know, to give a platform to women, and but we didn't really say a thing. We just did it. You know what I mean? It wasn't a matter of like, look at us. Like, it was just a matter of, let's just go ahead and do it, and see if anyone even notices. And nobody noticed, which is great.
Yeah.
So that's the whole point. So yeah, you know, Gami this month, and also a group of other people that are, there are going to be some music, and some of her friends that are going to be there. So.
Can you say maybe what are some of like the next events that people could look forward to in terms of Creative Mornings, or like who might be next?
Well, we're still ironing out some of the upcoming months, but yeah, I haven't even been able to pinpoint the exact upcoming speakers for the next few ones. But, you know, if they follow us on social media, we'll definitely be updating it, and the newsletter always goes out, kind of updating people on like who's going to be the next speaker, what the theme is, where it's going to be.
And if the listeners out there, like if someone wanted to be a speaker or become involved, like what do they need to do to be able to attend? And
so they could reach out to Miami at creativemornings.com, or message us on social media, and, you know, whether it's a speaker suggestion, or they want to be a vendor, maybe they sell coffee or tea, and they want to kind of use the platform and provide the beverage or the food. So we're always looking to collaborate. So, you know, feel free to shout us out. We're really open to that, and we have like a running list of speakers and vendors and people that we reach out to that make sense.
Awesome. And what are the social handles again?
Miami_CM
Okay.
is for Instagram, and then on Facebook just look up Creative Mornings Miami.
Yeah. And one thing I like about the Creative Mornings platform is that it's very much a network, like online as well, and you can create a profile on Creative Mornings, and you can even put in there like what your interests are. Like if you're hiring, it's also a job board. Like if you need a job, what are some things you're good at, like your strengths. Like it's a very great way of showcasing yourself and building like a profile on there for people to find you. And
you have access to every person across the world that has signed up for it, and meet people, you know, in New York and LA, everywhere, and just maybe you're flying out there, and you're like, you know what, let me connect with this other member of Creative Mornings, and maybe they know where I should visit or check out, and I've had people reach out to me that they're coming into town and, you know, asking like what spots to visit, what should I look out for, all
Or
that.
attend an event.
Yeah,
in
or
whatever
attending the
city.
event too.
Yeah.
So
Okay, awesome. Fabio, tell me about Daybreaker. How can people get involved? The next event that's coming up, and the next Daybreaker is in collab with 3 Points at Space on February 23rd at 10 a.m.
Yes, so it's gonna be almost like a decompression party for 3 Points. We're gonna have 3 fitness options, so you can do yoga, you can do Pilates, or you can do spin, and then we're gonna have the dance party. And then coming up in March, we're gonna have actually an all-female cast for Women's Month. So
Okay,
it's gonna
great.
be March. Maybe we can work together on something there. It's
Yeah.
gonna be March 23rd at the Barnacle. It's actually unannounced, but
Okay,
First
you heard
in-
it first on
I
your
heard it first
Monday.
here, yeah. And then we're gonna have a 420 party as well.
Okay, what's
Yeah.
the 420 party?
It's just lands on
high
420.
energy.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Yeah, we'll put some spin on it, but
Okay.
yeah, it just happened to land on that date. So
And for people to get involved with Daybreaker Miami, or for
yeah,
anyone
so
who
we
wants
are
to-
very open to anyone who wants to get involved, and you know, if you volunteer, you can bring a guest, and you know, it's pretty much doing either a setup or on like during the event or a breakdown shift with like 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
And you can just reach out to us on Daybreaker Miami Instagram, and we also have a Facebook page. So either one of those, you can just reach out, and you know, we're happy to welcome anyone who wants to bring, you know, good vibes to the event, because again, we are really trying to make larger than life experiences, and it takes a lot of people to make that happen. It's a big production.
It's a collaborative effort. It's a
Yeah.
community effort.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then Women Run Wynwood is on March 3rd, and it's always the first Sunday of the month. So we just had our Women Run Wynwood event.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so tell me, how can people get involved, or if you're looking for like sponsors, like what do you need from the community right now?
So right now our next event is March 3rd.
Yeah.
We actually have for Women's Month, we have March 9th and March 16th. So we have 3 events in March for Women's Month.
Okay.
And other than that, if anyone wants to reach out for sponsorship, vendors, if you want to be a part of Women RUN Wynwood, just really reach out. We're open for anything, collaborating, anything at all. WomenRunWynwood.com, Instagram, Women Run Wynwood 305, and the same thing on Facebook.
Okay, awesome. And if people wanted to stay in touch with you directly, what's your personal handle?
So it's
Gris.
Gris.
With 3 I's? No?
Yes, 3 R's and 2 I's. Gris.
Oh, there you go.
Instagram, there you go.
And then, Fabio, you don't have any personal accounts, do you? Or you're more active on Daybreaker?
No, believe it or not, I try to keep it kind of private.
Okay.
But you can follow me on Dude Skywalker _.
Okay.
I'm kind of active on that one, or you can email me at fabio@daybreaker.com.
Awesome. And then, David, I also know that you're an entrepreneur and you have your own business side of things. So, what's your personal information, your personal handle, if people want to?
my personal is just my name with a J as the middle initials of David J. Verjano. I was born the same day as my dad, had the same name, so I was like, he took that. So I had to kind of like, so that's on Instagram, and you can look me up on Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever.
And then for any branding or social media marketing needs?
You can follow Beyond the Agency on Instagram. We're kind of like revamping the content we're pushing out, and have some new exciting projects coming out, so it's kind of a fun time right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's our show. Thank you all so much for being here.
Thank you.
for having us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for listening to Meet Them Mondays. Make sure to tune back in on Monday, February 25th for another episode. Follow us on social media at Meet Them Mondays. I'm your host, Cristian Portilla, on IG at Run Free Rights. And if you like what you hear, then share this episode with your friends or support Meet Them Mondays, the mission. We would really appreciate a Patreon contribution. Head to patreon.com/Run Free Rights, or subscribe on Apple and listen on SoundCloud, Mixcloud, Stitcher, or visit runfreerights.com for more. Peace. Bye.
Peace.
Thank you everyone for tuning in to Meet Them Mondays. That was our episode. Make sure to go on runfreerights.com if you missed it live. Thank you for tuning in. These are my guests. Everybody say bye.
Bye. Take care.
John, will you pause that for me, please? Thank you so much. All right.